And behold, I saw a ring of deception which encompassed the entire earth, and within such a ring I saw the people of the earth, and the people I saw beeth dehumanized and degraded in all manners. And I saw the ones who beeth dehumanizing the people of the earth, and such people haveth not faces, because their identities beeth not known. And I saw men, women, and children living in cesspools of filth and disease. And I saw such people of innocence eating rotten meat provided by their governing factor. And the people beeth given contaminated water to drinketh and bathe in, and there beeth no mercy shown to mankind. And behold, I saw the ring becometh engulfed in flames, and the people within could not exit. And the controlling elite surrounded the ring, and there beeth 12 of them. And the first of the 12 held its hand out over the ring of fire, and all the women within the ring, both young and old, began to giveth birth. And I saw girls of young ages giving birth, and the women felt grief and sadness as their babies beeth born into filth-stricken poverty and oppression. And behold, I saw the second controller who stoodeth outside the ring raise his hand and held it out over the ring, and there beeth men in outfits of authority who came in and tooketh the children from their parents, and the men in outfits of authority tooketh the children away to another area. And the governing factor tooketh the children and gaveth to thee clean water and clothing, and the governing factor washed the children and fed them with fresh food. The individuals outfitted in clothing of authority brainwashed the children and taught them to hate their own parents and hate all others who they beeth instructed to, and the men outfitted in clothing of authority trained them to hate and to kill. The governing factor brainwashed the children to obey authority without question. The children became slaves to propaganda and lies. And behold, I saw the third controller hold out his hand over the ring, and I saw sores appear on the boys of young age, and the sores developed on thy face, body, and genitals, and the sores became painful and developed into pustules. And I heard the young boys cry out in pain and discomfort, and the boys cried out to thy mothers begging for relief, and their mothers could do nothing. And behold, I saw the fourth controller, and he held his hand out over the ring, and the men within the ring began to become nauseous and spew vomit from thy mouths. The men fell victim to the disease, and before dying, the men fell into a level of rage that beeth uncontrollable. Hate and anger grew to a new level of revulsion, and the men began to attack each other in an uncontrolled fit of anger. The men beeth inflicted with horrible pain and disease which drove them to madness. And behold, I saw the fifth controller, and she extended her hand out over the ring, and instantly all plant life began to wilt and die. I also saw the rivers and streams dry up, and the air becometh polluted with chemicals. I saw the destruction of nature span across the globe, and the oceans became filled with sickness. And behold, I saw the sixth controller, and he held his arm out over the ring, and I saw the earth began to shake, and the ground moved, and the oceans divided. I saw the mountains crumble, and the ground opened up and spewed molten rock, and the rumbling of the ground beeth worldwide, and the cities of the world became devastated. And I saw the people of such cities killed by the molten rock that flowed through the streets like water. I saw people entombed within the molten rock which spewed from the earth. And behold, I saw the seventh controller, and she extended her hand out over the ring, and I saw the world become a victim to pestilence. I saw plague and disease created by the engineers of the controllers. The pestilence beeth released upon society and fostered by insects. The pestilence beeth used upon society to test potency and social engineering theory. And 1/4 of the people of the world became ill and died. And behold, I saw the 8th controller, and she extended her hand over the ring, and the nations of the world waged war. And the war beeth worldwide, and caused the death of 1/4 of the population of the world. Blood flowed like rivers, and fire fell like rain. And the war had taken the lives of the 2nd quarter of the people of the world. And such war lasted for 12 years, and it beeth fought on land, sea, and air. The people of the world went underground to hide from the flying death and toxic weapons. The global war had grown to be the largest and most deadly war the world hath ever seen. And behold, I saw the 9th controller, and she held her hand out over the ring, and the global war ended, and peace flourished worldwide. And the survivors left from the past catastrophes began to multiply and repopulate. Women and young girls began to procreate at a rate higher than any other in recorded history. As the years passed, society became morally liberal and eventually very wicked and corrupt. Abuse within all forms began to grow within society, and such abuse became uncontrollable and rampant. And behold, I saw the 10th controller, and he extended his arm out over the ring, and perversion grew to an uncontrollable level, and the authority neglected to enforce moral law. Child sexual abuse elevated and became socially accepted, which morally compromised society. Parents began selling their sons and daughters to the debauchery corporations which began to arise across the globe. Perversion, along with drug abuse, grew to the highest levels in recorded history, and sexually transmitted diseases engulfed the people. And behold, I saw the 11th controller, and he held his hand out over the ring, and the population began to double, then triple, then quadruple, and the world economy crashed, and the societies of the world began falling apart. And I saw the homeless rate increase tenfold, and the people of the world fell prey to illness and disease, and the young girls and boys sold their selves and their bodies to purchase food to eat. Poverty and disease spanned the globe and engulfed the societies of all nations. And behold, I saw the 12th controller extend her hand out over the ring, and at that moment I saw a man rise to power whose authority encompassed the world, and then beeth born the amalgamation of nations under one authority, and whose rule extended indefinitely. And such man wore the appearance of evil and malice, yet dressed as righteousness. The autocrat promised the world an abundance of peace and prosperity. The people became seduced by his words and motivated by his influence. The autocrat obtained absolute authority over the armies, judicial system, economy, and the worldwide food supply. And it beeth then when I heard his name, and it beeth the name of evil, and his name beeth spoken to me as a whisper, and his name beeth exalted by his followers of evil and ye of ignorance. And I heard the people exalt his name, and the people who praise his name called him Baalzebub. And the time approacheth when the day shall beeth owned by the corporations, the land shall beeth owned by the one who destroyeth it, the sword shall beeth swung to decapitate the rights of all people, the world shall falleth victim to the leader of true evil, and all shall beeth enslaved within their own oppression. The day shall come when the freedoms of all beeth controlled by an elite organization who serves the one that controls the world. No one shall see or know of him as he gaineth control over all things. It shall come to pass when the earth and everything upon it falls under the control of an autocracy, and it shall be at the beginning of a new reign of world despotism.